If you've been paying attention here on NOIR, you probably noticed that we keep mentioning Trident Response Group, kind of like that friend of yours that's dating the model chick that none of y'all have ever seen, so we're not really sure if she exists. But I assure you, Trident Response does exist, and we work with them quite a bit. They keep us safe on the range, and we do some work with them because they provide some really great training. I actually recently went out to Trident Response and took part in a munitions training course. And so what I want to go ahead and do is show you what happened there, and let's take a look. All right, so I'm here with Clint Bruce from Trident Response, and Clint thought it would be an awesome idea to subject me to an immense amount of pain so I can show you guys, the viewers, basically what it would be like to find yourself in a home defense situation at my expense.
Well, this is when we begin to kind of leap from being a shooting enthusiast to actually accruing skills. You know, one of the things we always tell people— I have no skills? No, I'm not saying that. Well, we'll find out. We'll see how you do. But there's a difference between being a shooting enthusiast and having the gun and going to the range and all the other stuff, and then really learning how to use the weapon as a tool to defend yourself and those you care about. So the Ready Lab, what you're about to go into, is a place where we just help expand your capacity to actually take care of yourself and those you care about.
Fair enough. And I know I like to really kind of go off the hinges about how I love the more recreational aspects of shooting, but this is actually a very vital and important part of it. So let's head over to the Ready Lab and take a gander.
Sounds great. You can't maintain that vigilance that long, so we're going to wait out here a little bit, let them fatigue, kind of figure out, hey, they'll come in whenever they want to, because that's a more approximate scenario right there. So tell me what you saw. Tell me what you think happened.
Death. No. Basically, I woke up and I actually didn't realize we actually started.
Right.
So that was about as real as it could possibly get for me.
Right.
And I look up and I saw a guy standing in my room, and my first intention was to get the hell out of Dodge.
Right.
But I grabbed the gun, which I honestly believe was by accident. And as soon as I did that, all I remember seeing him, some other movement, and then just my first instinct was just find the first way to get out.
Perfect.
And once I finally found myself in a situation where I was between the two doorways, I knew there was more than one. So I was kind of thinking, okay, I'm not sure if they're going to charge me at this point, if they're just both going to come out shooting.
Right.
So I kind of positioned myself in between the two doorways so that I could try to deal with it to some extent. When that didn't happen, I was like, all right, I just need to get the hell out of this house.
Right.
But then I was also worried about if I cross that door path, am I going to get shot? So I waited for a second and then tried to sprint through.
Right.
Once I realized I made it to the other side, I figured I had an advantage because I had my back to the wall.
Right.
Then at that point, I could kind of utilize some angles to see if they would come out. And at that point.
So when did you get engaged? Do you remember?
No.
Okay. So you just know you got engaged, so you started you started turning and giving it back. So a couple things did really good. One, when you came out, you said, I didn't hear the thing right away and I didn't respond right away. Well, you're never going to. You're never going to, because what we do is we typically explain away everything that we're hearing as that, well, it must be, because we don't want it to be someone in the room with us.
Yeah.
Second thing you did is you moved off the bed right away and began to figure out what was going on in the environment. And you did, you almost turned and walked out, but you remembered you had, your tool, your weapon there that you could, because you also know, you didn't know what was beyond that.
Yeah.
And then what was really interesting is you came out in the hallway, your recall is actually really right on, other than once you got past that kind of no good answers hallway and you finally made a move, that's when the engagement came on. Your first shot, when you came back, was right there. So that was your first return fire shot. And so the reality is did you really have time to aim? Did you get up on the weapon? Did you slowly exhale and get up on the front sight post?
All I remember was I tried to engage him through the crack of the door.
Right.
And then when he realized I was shooting at him and he came around, all I remember seeing was the mask. So I just pointed and fired.
Right, so your body fought, not the gun. So it's, again, what we're saying is you kind of weaponize yourself when you have to. The weapon's just a tool, the gun's just a tool. Your second shot, your first shot was that's a fatal shot, and your second shot was right in the lower rib cage, right on your left-hand side. So you put two shots right on top of each other, And then as soon as he turned, you actually made a third shot. So you threw a nice 3-round burst. You weren't thinking about it that much. You ready to reload?
Am I?
Yeah, you're ready. I'm not in there. Have fun.
Well, yeah, this should be interesting.
Okay,
especially
good deal.
now.
Good deal. Thanks. So 3 guys come in, mess with a room. 1 guy go back in the hallway. 1 guy penetrate into the bedroom, and let's see what he does from there. Cool? All right, ready on?
Done. I'm done. God, that hurt.
What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take it a little bit more to the far end of the human experience and let you experience what a sophisticated and dynamic scenario might look and feel like.
The only thing I'm hearing you say right now is we're gonna make sure you die this time.
It's yet to be played out. We don't know how that's gonna end, but
okay,
we'll see.
Fair enough. Let's do it.
All right.
Well, let's see what happens when they come in all tack style. This shouldn't be good.
Let's do a Simo, 3-man, 1 guy, 1 door, 1 guy, 1 door, hall boss, flood, win it as you see fit, and let's see how he does on this one. All right, ready to go.
I had to get Aaron back.
So we're here with Clint Bruce, former Special Operations Officer from Trident Response. How's it going, man?
It's going really well. You did great. I was really impressed. You know,
Thank you.
what was happening is, it was really interesting to watch how quickly you were absorbing and actually being able to move and correct. And that's one of the reasons you saw us is with each scenario, we actually ratcheted up the complexity because as your familiarity happened, your comfort was going, and that's when complacency creeps in. And when there's complexity, there's no complacency.
Yes.
I do have a question for you. Okay, so you love to go shoot. I mean, you shoot a lot, and you actually have a really good aim. Is that as important to somebody who might not go out and practice as much, like actually being a good marksman when it comes to self-defense?
Shooting is a kind of a static exercise. Fighting, in Colion, it'd be interesting to see what you think. You weren't really aiming a whole lot.
I didn't see sights.
That's right.
I did not see sights. Everything was intuitive, instinctive. It was like threat, punch out, shoot. And another thing I noticed too is the only time I actually ran 2 hands on my gun was when I actually had a moment to sit down and aim while I was trying to shoot him through the little crack of the door.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's literally boom, 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 engage. I mean, you could see it in the video.
So that's more important, like getting familiar. If you're going to choose to have a firearm in your home, being familiar with how to use it. And
for me, instinctively, I just resorted back to my fundamentals that I'd learned about shooting.
That's right. One of the things we say is you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your training. And so nothing beats reps. Nothing beats reps at all. And that's why we built the Ready Lab the way we built it. So you can, you can't learn if you can't fail. And where do you learn to do the things you never want to fail at? And so that's why we built the Ready Lab. So you could come in and, try, fail, fix, try again with the time that you have.
Yep, absolutely.
what's some other things they can do to be ready? You talk about being ready a lot.
Yeah, ready is pretty much our favorite word because ready is what it is. It's a totally relative feeling. Your ready is different than your ready is different than my ready. And one of the ways, do your thinking when you can think so you can do your doing when you must do. And when you're doing, because you've already thought through things, you're making the bad guy think, which is painful. So push the bad math onto the bad guy.
Did you ever feel ready?
That's the thing. I think it's important to distinguish between the concept of being ready and I'm always ready.
Right.
You know,
because that's not sustainable. That's not realistic.
It's not realistic
you
at
wouldn't
all.
sleep at nighttime.
That's right.
Which is odd to me in a lot of ways. You know, when some of the anti-gunners are like, oh, just paranoid, delusional, so just always ready for a fight. No, half the time I wake up in the morning, throw my gun on me, and go about my day.
Yeah.
It's just when the moment arises, I'm familiar with it, and I'm already ready to deal with it.
We call that the speed to ready. We're always trying to increase the speed to ready. And what I mean is how fast can I go from normal to ready?
And that's interesting because when afterwards, when people were asking me like, what did you learn from it?
Yeah.
You know, and one of the things I said, I've become a little bit more comfortable with the chaos.
Right.
Meaning that the next time I see it, it wasn't the first time I've seen it. So now I will respond quicker instead of sitting in a zone of, oh my God.
And it's not that you're comfortable with chaos, it's just you're comfortable with your ability to handle chaos.
Exactly.
That's the deal. So your speed to ready was increasing. The time for not being ready was reducing.
Yeah. Well, I could tell you were definitely progressing like each time you did it. So that was really cool to watch. But thank you so much for coming on our show. We're going to move on to the next segment. But before we do, can you let everybody know, can they sign up for these classes too?
Yeah. Go to our Facebook page, Trident Response Group. Like us, do the strange and mysterious things people do on Facebook, and we'll reach out to you.
Okay, wonderful. And you have offices in other locations as
Dallas,
well, too?
Waxahachie with our great partners at ETTS, and then all over the United States, we know who the best trainers are, best coaches, and we'll introduce you to them.
Well, you guys go check them out. They're a great group of guys. So thanks again.
You bet.
All righty.